So hello, it's the 7th of October, which means it's time for day 7 of Vlogtober. I did and about doing any filming today. God, just because I'm so tired. And after yesterday, oh dear, I didn't have a good day yesterday at all. I did think about having a break today. So it's only going to be a short one today, and it is literally going to be me sitting here. I'm really sorry. There's no going to be wandering around with me today. Because quite frankly, there isn't any much more I can really show you, because you've seen most of my day-to-day routine, getting up, going to work, coming home, and that's pretty much it. So, I don't know. But honestly, yesterday, I do feel, I will start off by saying I'm a lot better mood today than yesterday. I was thinking about this just now, thinking yesterday I felt a lot like, if you're my age, you may remember the Flumps. Used to be on television when I was a kid. I loved the Flumps. And there's one episode that always sticks with me, and that was when, I think it was Pootle this happened to. Had like a cloud over his head, because he like woke up like really grumpy, and he was like really grumpy and grouchy, and everything he did annoyed him. Like he'd fall over things, and everything just went wrong, and he had like a big cloud following him around, and it wouldn't go, and he'd get really cross the fact that he had this cloud. And I think that pretty much summed up my day yesterday. Like I literally had a cloud sat over my head, and I really felt quite peculiar. I still felt a bit funny when I woke up this morning, and so I always listen to music on my way to work in the morning. I have to have something just to, I don't know, it just keeps me sane, I think, because the bus is just so, it sounds really silly, but the bus is just so rattly and noisy. That I need to like drown it out. So I use Spotify. I love Spotify because there's pretty much anything and everything on there. And this morning I just put ABBA on because I love ABBA. I've loved ABBA since I was a kid. I suppose I've grown up with it. And the music's just, sometimes it's melancholy, but sometimes it's also quite upbeat, and it just seemed to clear my mind and blow all the cobwebs away this morning. So that was quite good. So I've generally felt a lot better today, actually. I'm tired. I'm still very tired, but that's just generally my general day-to-day state. Seems to be that I'm always tired when I've been to work. I didn't have quite such a long day today. I think that's probably helped as well. I was home a bit earlier. So yeah, I'm not going to be ranting like yesterday. I'm feeling better. The time now, it's just gone 7. It's about 7:05 now. So I've come in, I've got changed, had my tea. I've been sat downstairs watching about Harry Potter. Oliver's done his homework. If you're interested, I had pie and mashed potato. It was really nice. So that was good. So it's been a funny old day, and it's a funny old thing because I get the bus to and from work most days, or pretty much every day, and it's so funny because coming home sometimes on the commute, it sort of gives me time to think. And I think sometimes a journey just can be good because it gives me time to process the day I've just had at work and process all my thoughts and things like that. But it just gives me time for my thoughts to sort of meander around. And I suppose I was on the bus coming home tonight thinking, what can I talk about on the video today? You know, what can I sit and ramble on about? And one of the things I was thinking about is sort of the things that you sort of learn as you get older. Because obviously I'm 40 now. And I don't know, there are things that occur to me, and I was thinking about it on the way home, thinking sort of like, not life lessons, but things that you don't always necessarily think about until you're older, because you have to sort of, you have to sort of experience life, I suppose, don't you? But I've started having little things that I sort of help how I live my life every day, and how I see things and how I think about things, because people who know me very well will know that I'm a terrible worrier. I worry an awful lot about things. It may not come across so much when I've YouTube or on my blog, but I am quite a worrier. My mother would say I was a worrywart. I've always been the same since I was very young. The thought of new situations. I remember how stressed I got about going to university. Gosh, I made myself really quite poorly because I got myself in such a state, leaving home for the first time. It's a big deal, obviously, and things like that, and sort of change, you know, and having to all the things that were sort of happening in my life, and I just worry. I worry about so much, and I can get really stressed out, and it's sometimes I look back and I think, oh, I don't know what I was worrying about. And one of the things I think I've definitely learned as I've gotten older is I think you have to be sort of more selective about what you do and don't worry about. And I've come to a point where I realise that what you can't worry about what you can't do, and you can't worry about what you can't change. And also you can't worry about what's out of, if something's out of your hands and out of your control, it's no good worrying about it. Because all you're going to do is completely stress yourself out, and to no avail. And there's absolutely no point in it. I mean, there's always going to be things that come along in life that will worry you. I remember last year, this time last year, or just probably at the end of probably end of September last year, my husband was made redundant. Now, this was a hugely traumatic event in our lives. He'd had the same job for 27 years. It had started off that it had been a family business. It had been his grandfather's business, and he had gone into it at a very young age. And he was, it got to the point where he was running it with other family members, and then it got taken over, and eventually it led to him being made redundant. Now, at the time, I remember when we first discovered that this was going to happen, God, I was in such a state, because it's a hugely traumatic event. And I remember getting so upset. Oh God, how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to manage? Because I was only working part-time at that stage. And I'd been working part-time for a couple of years then, because obviously Oliver, my son, was still quite little. And Stu, my husband, had been the main wage earner, so that was quite difficult. And I remember getting so stressed, and then I had to get to a point where I had to sort of stop and think, this is silly. I can't change the fact that he's being made redundant. It's happening, whether I like it, whether I don't, it's happening. And you sometimes have to, it sounds so cliche, like the glass is half empty, the glass is half full. And you do have to kind of do that, you have to look at everything, and you have to think, well, actually, yeah, it's really awful, this is really traumatic, and it's really nasty, and it's horrible, and blah. And you go through all these emotions, and I was really angry. I was angry as well at the time. And then you have to look at it again and go, well, actually, maybe it was for the best, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. And you can't see it at the time because you're just so caught up in anger and, oh my God, it's all going to go wrong. And it's only after the event, and when the dust settles and everything starts to calm down and you process everything, that you actually, it's not that traumatic. And it's really a year on, because it came up on my time hop the other day to say that he was finishing his job. A year on, and we're still here. We're still going. I still have my house, as you can see. I still pay my mortgage every month. Obviously, it's totally different now. I mean, I work full time, which is fine. I always wanted to go back to full time work when my son got older. My husband is currently a stay-at-home dad, which suits him down to the ground. He does all the school runs, which is great because I just get to concentrate on work. Whereas before, I used to do the school run and then have to race off to work, and then my son had to go to a childminder. He was lovely, she was brilliant, but it meant he could sometimes go to people's houses after school for tea, and we're missing things, and it's a lot. So in a really bizarre way, it's as a family, I think it's actually benefited us. Obviously, I have to deal with, and a lot of people talk about the guilt of a working parent. It's quite difficult sometimes. I used to always go to all the assemblies that my son was in, but I can't at the moment. But my husband goes instead, so he's always got one of us there. I mean, I always make sure I'm at things like Sports Day, Christmas plays, anything that's really significant. I'm always there. I'll always take time off work. I'll always be there. But sometimes I just can't. And it is very hard, juggling being a mum and work and blogging and YouTubing and everything else. And it is difficult. I have lots of different hats, as I like to call them, I wear. I have my mum hat, I have my work hat, I have my blogger hat, I have my YouTuber hat, I have my wife hat. So, yeah, it's a funny old thing. But, a year ago I was literally going to pieces. Absolutely going to pieces, thinking, oh, this is going to be the most awful thing. And strangely enough, a year on, actually no, it's turned on its head, and I think we're in a much better place as a family, strangely. So sometimes you've got to reevaluate how you look at things and think about the bigger picture. I think that's, you know, definitely something I've learned. And like I say, you can't worry about what you can't do. And if something's out of your control, you've got to let it go. Let go of it. Just think, well, that's not my problem. I can't worry about that. I can worry about this, and this, but I can't worry about that. And don't. Because all you'll do is get yourself in a tiz. And it's so not worth it. The amount of times I got myself in a tiz over silly things and then realised afterwards I was being a plonker. So that's definitely something I would say. The other thing I was thinking about is, and this is definitely something that you get as a blogger and a YouTuber, is there's that quote, is it comparison is the thief of joy, I think it is that right? Am I saying that right? And it's really difficult sometimes to not want to compare yourself to other people. And this accounts for all walks of life, you know, every type of life. We're constantly comparing ourselves. It's really hard not to. And I think as a blogger and somebody, you know, when you're active on social media, it's really hard not to compare yourself to other people, to look at other people's blogs, other people's YouTube channels, Instagram, etc., etc. I think, oh, they're doing so much better than me, and they look so much nicer, and this and that. But then you lose sight of what you're doing. And I think you can lose sight of what makes you you. And at the end of the day, we're all very unique. We're all individuals. We're all our own person. We all have our own different takes on things. We all have our own different individual style as well. It's really lovely to admire other people. And I mean, I've got so much admiration for everyone around me. And everyone inspires me. You know, the style, the fashion, the videos, everything. It's just massive load of inspiration all the time. But you've got to not lose sight of who you are at the end of the day. And I think you can be too busy worrying about what everybody else is doing, and you can lose sight of what you're doing, and you can lose sight of what you're good at. And when you're getting into that sort of headspace, you've got to step back and think, well, actually, what is it I do? What is it I can offer? What is it that makes me me? What does make me unique? I always think, because I thought about it, it's so stupid, I thought about dyeing my hair the other day, darker. And then I suddenly thought, well, no, because I kind of feel that I'm known for my short blonde hair and my big funny glasses. I've got a certain look, I suppose. And that's kind of who I am. And that's what it is. I think when I think about some of my other blogger friends, I always think there's like a certain look or a certain way that I'll think about them. And I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to find who you are and just, you know, be... I always think it sounds so cliche, but be the best version of yourself. Don't try to be somebody else, because you're not going to be able to do it. And you do yourself a disservice, I think, in the process, really. I think, you know, you just need to be you. Because at the end of the day, when people are reading your blog or you're looking at your YouTube video, it's because it's you. It's you they've come to see. It's you they want to see talking, or it's you they want to read about, or it's you they might want to see a particular dress on. And that's what you've always got to remember. They're coming to see you. And I think the YouTube channels and blogs that I enjoy the most are the ones where I get a real sense of the person behind it. So it's not just like generic photos and just it's a real living, breathing human being who I get a sense of their personality and who they are. And through reading and interacting with them, I get to kind of know them before I maybe have even met them. And I think that's one of the biggest things, really, is just be you. You know, because we're all unique. We're all different. We all bring different things to the table. We all interpret things differently. And, you know, I think that's the best thing you can ever be. And I think going on from that as well, it's so weird with the way we live now is so different to kind of when I was growing up. The world has changed so much. And we have social media now, and we're all constantly plugged into it. I'm always plugged into it. My phone's always near me. You know, I get up in the morning and the first things I do when I'm on the bus, I check Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I check all my social media feeds. I read my emails. I look and see what's going on in the world, you know. And it's really easy to get sucked in and see other people's updates and Instagram photos and think, oh my gosh, look at their life looks wonderful. But you lose sight of the fact that you're just seeing a snapshot. You're seeing literally a 1 second snapshot of somebody's day. Yeah, somebody may post I mean, I do it. I post selfies on Instagram. I'm a big lover of selfies. But the selfie that I will post is always of the angle, that may hide my wrinkles, or that happens to catch my makeup if I've managed to do my makeup really well that morning, which doesn't happen that often. Or if I think my hair looks particularly good that day. So I'm as guilty as probably as anybody is always sharing the best version of myself online. And then I worry sometimes. I think that when people actually meet me in real life, that I don't look anything like myself. It's on Instagram. They're probably quite disappointed. They're like, oh, is that what you look like? I have quite a few people that are always amazed at how short I am, because I'm only 5'4", and for whatever reason, I think sometimes on photographs I must look taller, but I'm really not. Honestly, and there's no trickery going on. I'm not standing on boxes or anything that are hidden away. I am really short. And I think this is the problem. We see updates on Facebook, and I think we're all guilty of sharing those moments where we are talking about how wonderful things are. We may have just bought a new car, you might have bought a new house, or you're going on holiday, or there's some amazing event going on in your life, but we don't always share those moments when we don't feel so wonderful. When, I don't know, we've had a big ugly cry over something, or we're feeling hormonal and rubbish, and you just want to curl up in a corner somewhere, or you just had a massive row, or, I don't know, something's happened, you've got a huge bill and you don't know how to pay it, and those parts of our lives that are less than happy don't always get shared. I mean, some people do. Some people share everything on social media. They don't always filter. They just will share everything, but not everyone does. And I think it's particularly with Instagram. We all do it. I mean, I Instagram food and stuff. I was doing it over the weekend. But it's like with Instagram, it filters out all the noise of what's going on around. So you just see this tiny little part of a much bigger picture. I did see something the other day, and I can't for the life of me remember where I saw it, with an article showing, sort of talking about that, saying that, and it was showing like a wide angle version of somebody taking an Instagram photo and all the mess and chaos going on around them. But yet what you saw in the photograph was just this tiny, tiny little perfect looking thing. Yet when you pull back, what's going on behind the scenes is a lot more chaotic. I liken it to when you see swans, gracefully gliding down a river. But when you look closely, you'll see they're like this. That's a terrible. It looks like I'm doing a doggy paddle, but they're doing this underneath, and it's going like fury. But on the top, it looks serene and calm. And I always think that's what Instagram is like. It looks serene and calm, and then underneath it's like that. So I think it's really easy to get sucked into, looking at these things and thinking, oh, I wish my life was like that. But you're not really sort of seeing the bigger picture. We can all have that thing where it looks wonderful. You go behind closed doors, it's a completely different matter. Because I think we all show the best side of ourselves on social media. I'm sure we do. And I think this is the other thing I've had to learn, is that you can spend all your time thinking about what you don't have. I don't know, you haven't got the latest massive 4K television, or you can't afford the pair of trainers that you really want, or like me, if you're like me, you can't afford all of those dresses from Voodoo Vixen and Lady Vintage London that I would so like to own. And it's really easy to get swept up and think, oh, well, I haven't got this and I haven't got that. But you then lose sight of what you do have. And it doesn't have to be material possessions without getting all hippy-dippy. I think sometimes we do lose sight because we live in such a materialistic, and I'm really guilty of this because I'm a blogger at the end of the day, and obviously I buy clothes and I blog them. So I hold my hand up, I'm as guilty as anybody of shopping and buying clothes because I love the gratification of buying something new. I can't deny that, I do. But sometimes I think it's easy to lose track of what we have. And I have, looking to my over there, I have a wardrobe full of clothes. I don't need any new clothes. It's a want, it's a need. It's not a need, it's a want at the end of the day. And sometimes you've got to take a step back and think, well, actually, I'm really lucky because every month I pay my mortgage. I have a roof over my head. I have somewhere to come home to at night that's warm and safe, and I come home to a lovely family. And I have food in my fridge, I'm not hungry, I'm not scrambling around for food. I can heat, I can light my house. And sometimes you've got to step back and think, well, actually, that's meeting all of my basic needs. I can clothe myself, I can feed myself, I have a roof over my head and somewhere to sleep at night, and so does my son. And, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? And everything else is, well, a bonus, really, on top of that. And I think that's what we lose track of. We're so busy looking over our shoulder all the time at our neighbours, at friends, at other people and what they've got. And sometimes you're so busy looking at what somebody else has got, you don't realise what you actually have. And I think that's one of the really important things that I've had to learn over the years, especially when times get tight. Oh, excuse me. Oh, dear. When times get tight and you don't have as much money to live on, and it's then that your priorities become completely different. And yes, I still treat myself to things, but you have to think more carefully about what you do and don't buy. And it really makes you stop and think. And I think this is the problem. I think before, when you have money, sometimes you just spend and spend and spend and spend and spend, and you don't really get the joy or the appreciation. Well, you probably get the instant gratification of buying, but you don't really think about it. It's just, oh yeah, oh, I can afford that, I love it. Whereas now, I think I get more joy in a way of thinking, oh, I've got a bit of spare money. I'll have some. I'll have this. You know, even if it's just a £1 mascara. You know, I really appreciate that I can actually go and buy myself a £1 mascara, and I can do that. And I think that's a big thing that I've come to learn, that, you know, money. Yes, money makes the world go round. And yes, we all need money to live, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It's not everything. It really isn't. And I think you can have as much money as you want, but it doesn't guarantee you're ever going to be happy. Because I think you have to look around and appreciate what you've got. I'm getting all philosophical on a Wednesday night. So yeah, I think these are the things, you know, these are the things I think about when I'm coming home from work on the bus, honestly. It's terrible, isn't it? So I just thought I'd share that with you, because I don't really know what else to talk about today, I'll be honest. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I don't really know. So yeah, so there you go. That's the kind of things I've learnt now I've turned 40. So hopefully I've imparted some kind of wisdom. I don't know, I probably haven't. You probably all just switched off now and said, Nikki, do stop rambling on. So, so I'm going to call it a night, because I'm going to go and treat yourself to a cup of tea and a biscuit. Because it's that thing now, isn't it? It's getting cold. I don't know what anybody else says. The definite chill has really got a chill in the air today. In fact, I only got blown over at lunchtime because it was that windy. So I'm going to go treat myself to a cup of tea and a biscuit, because it's reached that time of year where I really appreciate a nice cuppa when it's like this, you know. So yeah, a cup of tea and a biscuit I think is on the agenda for me now. Gosh. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, then I'm really impressed with you, because I think I would have given up by now. And as always, if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I don't never know which side it's on. It could be on either one of them sides, somewhere down there. You can see my blog over at www.nattynikki.com. I promise I will get some more blog posts up. It's just I've been struggling a bit at the moment. I'm on Twitter at gamergo0621. And if you want to see the glorious snaps of my life and my ridiculous selfies, then you can come and see me on Instagram at nattynikki. So other than that, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow with day 8. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. All suggestions gratefully received. So in the meantime, I'll love you and leave you all, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.